Good morning, everyone. We're glad you're here. Happy week after Easter. We're glad you're here this morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation, and welcome to the month of April. Even though it hasn't exactly felt like Sonoran spring yet, today's a gorgeous day. And welcome to a new liturgical theme for the month, which is transformation, as symbolized by wildflowers. And there'll be much more about that as we go along today. MVUU extends a very warm welcome to those of you who are physically present here in our beautiful sanctuary, as well as to the folks who are joining us remotely, whether you are safe in the warm burrow of your home or on the road back to your summer residence or just somewhere else. Let us turn to the camera and wave so that our cyber attendees feel welcomed as well, as Monica pans the audience. And we're aware that some people will watch this service sometime in the future on YouTube, and we want to welcome you as well. I'm Deborah Roberts, the lead pastoral associate here at MVUU, at least for a little bit longer. This congregation is served by the Reverend Matthew Funk Crary, who, although he has been with us for over a year and a half, will be formally installed as our settled minister 2 weeks from today. Have you been Have you been reading your newsletter? There's all sorts of information in there about installation weekend. The details are there, but you're also going to hear a lot more about that during today's service. As we start our service, we like to thank those people who make it possible. Of course, that's in a large part due to the Reverend Matthew, who expertly crafts our service. But I'm going to ask you once again to help me thank some other folks. So if I say G or W, Who do you think I'm talking about that we need to thank? Greeters, okay, or welcomers. All right, so let's try another one. And if I say M, what could that refer to? Our wonderful music director, Chris Tackett. Okay, and how about H? What's up with that? Hospitality, and especially today, thanks to Ginny and Chuck Stack for filling in today and taking over hospitality. Okay, and I think I have and then there's Ari. That's kind of a dead giveaway, but who's behind Ari? Stacy Sosa. And one more, and that would be AV, which is also a giveaway. But who's involved? Who's back there today? I see Monica on the camera. I see Alex. I see Todd McMealy. And I see Robin Crary and Lee McMealy. Okay, thank you all for what you do for us. Oh, she's hosting from home, Robin. And thank you all for what you do. I think there is. So, back to transformation and wildflowers. By the way, where have you heard that word transform before in this congregation? Every week. The three words, which are engage, love, and transform. So I think you will agree that the super bloom of wildflowers we're experiencing this spring has transformed our landscape. I went on my favorite hike last weekend and counted 14 different kinds of wildflowers along the trail. And that didn't include either lupin or desert marigolds because there weren't any on the trail that I was on, although I did see a Gila monster and 2 deer. Not only is our landscape transformed, but the sight of the bright and cheerful wildflowers transforms me. It makes me so happy to see the bright colors and the multiple types of wildflowers gently waving in the breeze. We've had a lot of that lately. And they uplift my soul and take me away from my own worries and concerns. When I think of transformation, yeah, I'm transported by the transformation. I also think of this building. We transformed a furniture store into a beautiful and functional church. The walls that you see around you did not exist when we bought this building. And I am transformed by this space, especially in comparison to our old triple wild at Cromwell, or who can forget the auditorium at Greenfields. Oh my goodness. Sitting in this space and experience the warmth and the color of this wall here and the serenity of this space brings me great joy and makes my heart sing. And I have been engaged, loved, and yes, transformed by MVUU. When I moved here in 2010, I was a lonely, newly divorced, and newly retired person trying to find my place in an unfamiliar world. As I have said before, it didn't happen right away, but over time, MVUU transformed my life. The friends I have made here, one in particular, have nurtured me, challenged me, and brought me much happiness. MVUU has also given me an outlet for my creative spirit through the roles I have had in this congregation and the activities I have engaged in. I have truly been transformed by my association with this church. As the month of April progresses, you will be hearing much more about transformation, and I hope you will take advantage of the opportunity to stop along the way and smell the wildflowers. Our chalice lighting today is a little poem written by Gabby Compress. Let us be wildflowers. Let our souls be scattered by the wind. Let us grow wild and free, tall and brave, in the places that we dream, in the places where our longings are filled. Let us grow between the cracks of brokenness, and we will make everything beautiful.
Our week between services is a time that so much happens, so many things within the cracks, so many things growing. And so we pause in our service to remember the joys and remember the sorrows that occur between our gatherings. We pour out the water that we have collected as a congregation in a ritual of water communion that's coming later this spring, and from the Sonoran rains that have been falling, and we have collected them outdoors, and that's why it gets a little bit murky at times. But regardless, this is a symbol of our congregation, the bonds that we share. And Sally will take one stone for joy. There is great joy among us, joy that lifts our hearts, joy that is unspoken, and yet joy we celebrate together. And another stone for the sorrows, those things that weigh our hearts. Today we don't have joys or sorrows to share, but we know that they are here among us. We know that we need to celebrate. We need to comfort as we care for one another. Thank you. Our opening hymn is number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join your voices together.
And we don't have Joel today, so y'all will have to sing out all the stronger.
we will hold not an ordination. That is when Unitarian Universalist congregations make an individual into a minister. We will not be holding a coronation. That is when countries crown their monarchy. Instead, we will be holding an installation of our shared ministry. And as an example of that, we have a whole weekend of events planned. And so we have some of our team leaders here to share with us those events. Stacy.
All right, I'm here to get this party started with our first evening event for the evening. It'll be the installation Baja 4 social justice event. We hope you can join us all down by the Santa Cruz River Saturday, April 20th. We will be joined alongside our friends at the Sonoran Institute, the Tucson Audubon Society, TCB, the Wilderness Society, and many more as we work together to make a big change for the environment. Folks of all ages will find a way to participate as we learn more about the Santa Cruz River and the surrounding areas. Our cleanup spot will be at Speedway and Riverside. That has a few restrooms, paved sidewalks, easy river access, and limited seating is available, so if you need a seat, you might want to bring your own. Festivities start at 7:30 with an optional bird walk sponsored by the Audubon Society, but our cleanup will start at about 9 a.m. Show up when you can and leave when you need to. We will provide some quick breakfast items and refreshments for all to enjoy. There will be music, food trucks, and free seed balls available provided by the Tucson Clean and Beautiful. This will all be happening. This will be the happening place to be Saturday morning. Say that word. Oh, you don't have to.
I don't know.
Okay, so please RSVP as this will be, it's okay, as this will be extremely helpful so that we have enough food and supplies available on hand. So that is in the newsletter and on our website for the link. Okay, say thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Stacy. Stacy has done an amazing job partnering with all of these outside organizations. Thank you. Please RSVP to join us. Chris.
That very evening, Saturday evening, the 20th, right here at 6 o'clock, we are meeting for a chili feed, and we are excited to have a dance afterwards. First of all, the chili feed's going to be great because all the chili is coming from you guys. We have wonderful, wonderful pots of chili, and I'm excited to try. I've seen the list of what's been volunteered so far, and man, oh man, does it look tasty. We have chili, we have cornbread, we have all kinds of stuff. We have all kinds of different menu items and different things for different food varieties. And then we're also going to be serenaded and provided dance music by two wonderful ensembles here in town. If I can say, our own Blue Prairie Dogs, Dan Ovid's great band will be here, as well as the Tucson Little Big Band. It's a big band that only has 4 horns, so it's a little big band. But it's a lot of fun and wonderful dance music. We'll be here from 6 to 9 on Saturday evening. Super excited. It'll be a fun evening. And once again, like Stacy said, all of the places to RSVP and register and so forth are online. And you should be able to find all the links and everything you need through the church newsletter. And or let us know, and we'll be sure and get you in touch with the right people. Saturday night, chili feed and dance. Wear your best boots. Wear your best hats, and we'll see you there.
Thank you. Shared ministry. Debbie.
Well, if you can drag yourself out of bed after the chili feed and dance the night before, there is a service at our usual time on Sunday morning. It will take place at 10:30, but it's also going to be a little bit unusual because Reverend Matthew will have the day off from preaching, and instead the reflection will be delivered by the Reverend Rod Richards, who some of you know. He's currently the UU minister in San Luis Obispo on the California coast. But some of you will remember Reverend Rod from his early days at MVUU, where he was encouraged to consider the ministry. His topic is formation. I know that his topic is information. Sorry. I know that I told you a few weeks ago that I would not be leading another service, though I knew I would continue to be a PA. But I do find myself coordinating this service, which will feature a couple of songs by our own church band, the Euphorics. And just to tempt you a little bit, there is going to be a surprise event at that service on Sunday morning. So I hope you can all get out of bed and make it there.
So there's a theme here about shared ministry. Are you getting it? Sunday afternoon at 3:30, we will have the installation of shared ministry. And joining us to preach is the Reverend Elizabeth Wen. She is a leader in our faith tradition and brought about a lot of different changes nationally, and particularly with the Side with Love campaign. She'll be joining us with her family throughout the weekend, so you'll get to know her before that service, and she'll be preaching on Not Without Dust and Heat. Now that appeals to us as Sonoran residents, of course. It speaks to either what we're hoping to get in the cold, we want that heat back, or fighting against in the summers. But here it's referencing a couple of different historical pieces, which we'll be learning about next Sunday to refresh ourselves so that we are prepared for that installation service, and invite, of course, all of you to join, to be a part of, and to gather with others outside in our community who are coming in to find out more about our church and about the shared ministry that we practice here. So, that's the weekend. Come to what calls to you. Come to what speaks to you. But RSVP before you come, so that we know to be prepared for you. Thank you. And I just dropped all of your materials. All right, I got it. My teacher, Joanna Macy, who when I met her many years ago and spent a week with her studying, allowed me to call her grandmother. She says about gratitude, it is the gift for life that is the primary wellspring of all religions, it's the hallmark of the mystic, and it's the source of all true art. And yet we take this gift for granted. That is why so many spiritual traditions begin with thanksgiving, to remind us that of all of our woes and worries, our existence itself is an unearned benefaction, which we could never ourselves create. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I've got a heart that can hold love. I've got a mind that can think. There may be times when I lose the light and let my spirit sink, but I can't stay depressed when I remember how I'm blessed. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful. grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. In a city of strangers, I have a family of friends. No matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, I know that they will stay until the end. I feel a hand holding my hand. It's not a hand you can see, but on the road to the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight and always there. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. It's not that I don't want a lot, or hope for more, or dream of more, but giving thanks for what I've got makes me so much happier than keeping score. In a world that can bring pain, I will still take each chance, for I believe that whatever the terrain, our feet can learn to dance, whatever stone life may sling. We can moan or we can sing. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. Truly blessed and duly grateful.
This reading is entitled, Ministry is All That We Do Together. I think that qualifies as shared ministry. And it is by the Reverend Gordon McKeeman. Ministry is that quality of being in community that affirms human dignity, beckons forth hidden possibilities, invites us into deeper, more constant, reverent relationships, and carries forward our heritage of hope and liberation. Ministry is what we do together as we celebrate triumphs of our human spirit, miracles of birth and life, wonders of devotion and sacrifice. Ministry is what we do together with one another in terror and torment, in grief, in misery and pain, enabling us in the presence of death to say yes to life. We who minister speak and live the best we know with full knowledge that it is never quite enough, and yet are reassured by lostness found fragments reunited, wounds healed, and joys shared. Ministry is what we all do together.
Last Sunday, several of you were very, very, very inspired by the writing Bouquet of People by the Reverend Claire Feingold Thorne. I had forgotten to give her credit, and so I'm pausing to do so today and to take up also a meditation that's sort of based and inspired on that piece of writing. And so I invite you to pretend with me for just a moment that we are a field of wildflowers. Imagine that you are a Sonoran wildflower growing wild and free, tall and brave, here among others. Now, no one will know if you're actually doing your grocery list or you're balancing your checkbook in your head. So just play for a moment, if you would. And then we can go back to the rational seriousness of our lives. Just for a time, breathe and rest. And make space to believe as you once did as a child. What flower are you? Are you the sunshine wheel of the brittle brush, generous in its blossoms? Are you the fuchsia of the strawberry hedgehog cactus, prickly and thorny, defending your delicate bloom inside? Are you a crimson bud of the ocotillo reaching up to nurture the highest of aspirations? Or the orange sunset of the Emery's globe mallow, grounded, open, available? Or are you a flower all your own? Unique in color, extraordinary in texture, fancy in fragrance, with no single name, no claim to identity, untamed and unencumbered? What wild flower are you? Seeds from the past give blossoms their shape. Earth nurtures growth. Through storms and rain, and yet stretching for the sun, you are here today, unfolding among this bouquet of people. In our flourishing field, engaging, loving, transforming. Breathe and rest and grow. There are parts of you that are worth remembering, rediscovering, reuniting. There are wounds to be healed. There is joy, a bud of joy waiting to blossom. We are wildflowers, desert wildflowers, Sonoran wildflowers. Together we are hardy and we are resilient. May it be so, now and in all of our days to come. In the spinning of our world, in the cycle of the year, we've arrived at yet another Sonoran season, although last night with that near frost, it was maybe a little delayed. Marked by longer days and the hope of warmer temperatures, cloudy skies, life-giving rains, and the vibrant reawakening of flowering plants, we have come once again to the season of allergies. There are some here, of course, who don't celebrate this season, who don't have the itchy, watery eyes, sniffling congestion, uncontrolled sneezing, who don't have stuffed up ears or wheezing, coughing, sore throats, or even those slow, dulled thoughts and an overall feeling of lethargy. Bless your hearts and your better immune systems. But for the rest, April kicks off the period of our highest pollen count and thus begins allergy season. The most egregious of the flora, the audaciously flowering mesquite and palo verde trees, are joined by the inconspicuous Tucson burr ragweed to cause the most trouble. But those desert wildflowers, as beautiful as they are, they contribute as well. The season is actually kind of a mistake of sorts. This overload of allergens in the air our body reacts to in a negative way, but it's really our body's biological blunder. Our immune systems, at least those of us who have allergies, read pollen as dangerous and attempt to expel it in those various ways that we recognize as symptoms. But like all things about human biology, there's an evolutionary explanation. And in 2016, the Washington Post printed an article about the annoyance of allergies, in which Rachel Feltman and Sarah Kaplan reported, many experts believe that allergen immune responses helped save our ancestors' lives. The molecules involved are quite similar to the ones that protect humans and other animals from venom and parasites. Perhaps when our species was a little more wild, we were exposed to more genuinely harmful pollen-like substances, making allergic reactions a real lifesaver. So our ancestors survived because they were allergic to toxins in the air that are no longer of concern to us. We put other things in the air we should be worried about. And none of that quite makes me feel thankful, grateful for my sniffling reaction to wildflowers. I do confess that I'm glad to be breathing today. I'm grateful to be alive and joyful to be witnessing with you the blossoming of the wildflowers. Langston Hughes, one of our quintessential American poets, captures all of that in his poem, Earth Song. It's an earth song, and I've been waiting long for an earth song. It's a spring song, and I've been waiting long for a spring song, strong as the shoots of a new plant, strong as the bursting of new buds, strong as the coming of the first child from its mother's womb. It's an earth song, a body song, a spring song. I have been waiting long for this spring song. The turning of our world, the wading through winter, our earth now sings its spring song again. There are a few notes of annoyance at allergies in that earth's song. But there's so much more in the song. There's joy and vibrancy. There's life and strength as the season of spring sings. You may have been wondering about a few of these images up here. These are mementos that are a part of my ministry, and they inform and remind me of who I am and how to minister. Like this one. This one is signed by Stan Lee, who helped to create Marvel Comics, in particular Spider-Man and other inspiring heroes. And my brother took my 5 sons and I to go and meet him, and we got this when we were there. It reminds me of storytelling. It reminds me of the power of pop culture. And then there's this one. I received this when I went to Standing Rock, invited by indigenous elders to join in the witness of their protest against the Dakota pipeline, and to also understand and learn about the truth that water is life. Now, many of these come from before I came to Mountain Vista, but some of them, they've come to me while I'm here, like this one. This one is a gift from Hobie. Desiderata. It's a poem that names several qualities for enjoying life, living with integrity in the midst of a broken world. Among many things, it advises that you are a child of the universe, no less than the stars or the trees. You have a right to be here. It says that in the noisy confusion of life, keep the peace in your soul. And it tells you that with the sham and drudgery and broken dreams, it's still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. This was very meaningful to Hobie, and so he gave it to me, and it's meaningful to me as well. Thank you. The butterflies that I've added to this particular protest sign, well, they come from you all. Elizabeth Van Horn had a project before I came, and many of you took these and wrote notes on the back, and they were on my door the first day that I came here. And I've collected them and kept them, many more in addition to this. These all speak to me about what's important in ministry, about what I bring here, what I want to offer to you. There are lived lessons and learnings that nourish my heart and my soul. And I share them with you, and in turn, you share what you are bringing with me. And we create a kind of cross-pollination of faith and of culture, of poetry and prose, of past experiences and future dreams, of knowing and being known, and of sharing what we believe and what we value together. And this pollination, it's a rich diversity. It strengthens and it empowers the blossoming of our entire field of flowers, of who we are as Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalists. And of course, as our lives change, as they must, as our personal seasons turn, we continue to learn about one another again and again. We meet as if for the first time, over and over. And as we do, we get to share more and more of ourselves, to be known for who we are, for what we are. And we become stronger and deeper as a congregation, greater than the sum of any single part. And this cross-pollination, well, sometimes we can be allergic to what's being shared. I know that some of my ideas, what inspires me as a minister and guides me as a leader, can and cause, let's call it, an allergic reaction. It might make you itchy or even annoyed sometimes when I assert things like that I believe there is only one truth. There's not individual personal truths, but we can only find that one truth together. I believe that conflict is a natural part of a healthy community, and we need not fear it, but that leaders are called to lead despite it. I believe in giving when asked as much and as best as I can, trusting that you all are doing the same. I believe that play is essential, humor is healing, and joy is ever present when we slow down and just breathe. I believe it's okay to make you listen to me sing. I believe that there are other ways of knowing that are neither rational nor logical, and yet all are deeply meaningful to our lives. And I believe that shared ministry is the only way I know how to be a minister. I believe that greater than any potential annoyance, shared ministry is how we live out our Unitarian Universalist faith, greater than the sum of the parts, a blossoming and blooming together here in our congregation and for our entire world. This one here comes from early July of 2022, just a week before I began my ministry with you all. I sat on the asphalt in the center of the intersection at Congress and Church in downtown Tucson, singing and praying and protesting the filibuster in the United States Senate. Reverend Bethany and I had joined a group of 20 protesters from around Arizona to risk arrest in order to draw attention to the many, many, many injustices that the filibuster allows to perpetuate. And I learned two things that day in July. First, the asphalt in July is really, really hot. Take big, thick things to sit on, which we did not. And second, more people agreed with our protesters than did not. Despite our causing inconvenience and annoyance in the middle of that hot, bustling workday, when people took the moment to stop and to learn what we were protesting, they agreed with our focus and our goal. And that was affirmed just this last week in the Associated Press poll that found that Americans, despite political persuasions, agree on most of these values. 91% believe that all people should have equal protection under the law. 91% believe that everyone should have the right to vote. 90% believe in the freedom of speech, and strong majorities agree on the right to privacy, the freedom of religion, the freedom of the press, and the right to assemble peacefully. Political divisions only emerged over the right to bear arms. The authors of the article, Gary Fields and Amelia Thompson Devereaux, observed, overall findings are striking because they come at a time of extreme partisanship when political agreements seem rare and concerns over heightened a potential of violence during a volatile presidential election year. It's, of course, no surprise to you that politicians today are more divisive than popular opinion supports. But what was startling, at least to me, is that Americans agree so clearly on commonly held values. It surprises me because the people I know of different political persuasions, it feels like there's more of a winter between them, a cold block of ice keeping us frozen and separate and apart, instead of united on meaningful issues that might make change for all people. But what that poll suggests, what I learned while sitting down for justice in that downtown in July, not the first thing, the second thing, is that we are closer to a spring. We are closer to a thaw. We are closer to breaking down divisions than I could have imagined. I take my experience and this poll as evidence. And so I believe that the divisions that keep us apart, that we are so aware of in our lives, they can be changed. In fact, it's not far away that we can help make that change come about. Ice, of course, will not crack unless action is taken. Through peaceful protest, yes, but also through open-hearted engagement, courageous love, and inspiring transformation. In short, the purpose that this congregation has given itself. You see, our mission is building an open-hearted, welcoming community where we work together in covenant to transform ourselves and our world through love. That's our field of flowers. And it's what we have been waiting long for. This is the song of spring that our individual voices sing together, and sometimes with notes of annoyance, but always, always greater than the sum of us all singing together. This is shared ministry. This is shared ministry. Together, lostness is found. Together, fragments are reunited. Together, wounds are healed and joy shared. And we blossom a spring that we need, that our world needs. And in 2 weeks, that's what we will celebrate together. A shared ministry, not about one person, but about a community that is a part of a broader region and area, a community that knows that it needs to go out, it needs to dance, it needs to always be in formation, and it's not without dust and heat, but always with engagement, love, and transformation. We will celebrate what our faith is all about and what the world needs from us right now. May our celebration then and every time we celebrate be for shared ministry. Our closing sacred song is number 128, For All That Is Our Life. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join your voices together.
announcements as we conclude our service today. First of all, as you leave the sanctuary today, you will find the wooden basket and the wooden bowl and the woven basket. Sorry, the recipient of the donations to the woven basket is Flowing Wells Elementary School Partnerships, where we support efforts at both the John J. Hendricks School and Laguna. Go Hawks, go Longhorns. Okay. After the service today, there is the Renew UU continuing series. Today's session will be led by our President Aaron and by Lee at the Renew UU gathering. And the topic today will be how the nuts and bolts of how MVUU works. Breaking news. You've been waiting for this, I know. We made it. We collected exactly 110 jars of nut butter, as well as $50 in cash donations. Thanks to everyone who was able to donate. MVUU is an amazing, these are Stacy's words, loving and generous community. The food drive was a success because of you. We are making a huge impact on the lives of those in need through the over at Interfaith Community Food Bank. And new member celebration, we are welcoming new members into our congregation next Sunday. And if you're interested, it's not too late. Speak to Reverend Matthew. And I believe that's it. Okay. We released the flame today with another little poem about wildflowers, and this has no attribution. Let us be wildflowers, growing freely in the world, simple and unpretentious, seemingly weak and delicate, but secretly resilient, able to weather and withstand the extremes of the desert and the temperature of life. We transform the landscape as others see us again, but for the first time.